Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Pierre Young, and welcome back to the Black Lives Matter podcast, episode two. And my next guest is one of my best friends from AmeriCorps. He's very knowledgeable, very funny guy who I've met throughout the past year, going through this crisis. Jeff Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing, Jeff? How you feeling during these tough times, man? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, doing okay, doing okay. Yeah, thanks for hosting this. Yeah, I think it's great to have something like this to process everything going on. There's definitely a lot to process right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's getting really tough out here, and yeah, it's this traumatic event after one after another. It's just yeah. How's Minneapolis going?
I think it's okay. I haven't gone outside
Yeah,
for a bit, but I'm not hearing as many helicopters. I haven't heard helicopters in a while, and sirens, they're not as frequent, and small like explosions. I think those are like firecrackers or I guess flashbangs or tear gas. I haven't heard all of that since like last weekend, really.
that's crazy. That's really scary. Yeah, I've been hearing sirens everywhere in St. Paul at nighttime, and especially around my area, and a lot of people from Midway. Um, yeah, they have been hearing a lot of like promotions and like riots, and yeah, this university just half destroyed, and so it's tough. It's even the GameStop that I used to go to in the university, that's destroyed. It really breaks my heart, but
Yeah,
it can always be replaced.
yeah, it's just property. I think it was last Sunday. There were about a good number of protesters that were arrested near the U.S. Bank Stadium. I guess there was like a gas station nearby where uh, yeah, police arrested. It was maybe, I don't know, 50 or 100 protesters they arrested.
Oh man, that it's really crazy. Yeah, with all these these the processes, like I understand, like the anger, and like I wish I could be out there, but it's like the corona's out there, and then it's just like people can get sick, and yeah, it's real out here, and we have to face reality. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely true.
Next question I have is related to rioting. How is All Lives Matter flawed to compare to Black Lives Matter? It's kind of a tough question, but like,
Yeah. So sorry. I think maybe I'll maybe I didn't really answer the previous question completely, but yeah, I think thank you for hosting this. It's great to process everything. Um,
right.
yeah, and it can be really unhealthy for our mental health and just our overall health to hold everything inside. I've been feeling a mix of frustration, anger, and fear. Frustration that even after the murder of George Floyd, police abuse has continued, even on live camera. There's a fear that if police are willing to abuse peaceful protesters and journalists on live TV, what will they do when the cameras aren't rolling? I've also felt frustration that many people in our country focus on the very small number of looters rather than the continued abuse by our police officers. Police are city employees with a badge and a gun. Looters aren't they're not city employees, and they don't have badges. We need to hold these city employees accountable. Looters destroy property while police abuse is taking human lives, Black lives. I feel frustrated that some people would use looting to delegitimize the continued and real presence of police abuse. Paraphrasing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., riots are the language of the unheard. If you want to prevent riots, let's ensure justice. Justice is the best way to prevent riots and looting. People in our country, including President Trump, get upset, and they got upset when NFL players would kneel peacefully in protest. and they would get upset when they used words, just words, like Black Lives Matter. Paraphrasing Dr. Martin Luther King again, some people would rather have tranquility. They would prefer tranquility rather than justice. And yeah, that's just not right. Yeah, all lives matter is flawed because looking back in our country's history, that's been far from the case.
That's right.
African slaves have been brought here since at least the 1600s. Our Constitution wrote that slaves were worth 3/5 of a person, not even a whole person. That wasn't until it wasn't until the 1960s that more serious efforts were taken to at least try, just to try to ensure Blacks had the right to vote. So if you look back at our country's history, all lives matter is far from the truth. The increased presence of smartphone cameras and security cameras in general have shown video proof that police written reports often don't match what's caught on camera, especially when it comes to Black lives.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that one. It's just one other quote from Martin Luther King Jr. is that the hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that, and because hate and darkness they don't go together. It's just like it's very terrifying to even see what happens in the Twin Cities, where it's just like we have to unite and evolve, and it's just so scary. It's like we have not. I hate it when other people say, "Oh, slavery is over," or the or like sometimes like even youth don't understand. Like, well, I thought that got rid of slavery a long time ago, or I thought civil rights what was all done. Like, no, it's still out there. It's invisible, but it's still out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Question three. So I think like how can society self-reflect themselves after these difficult times? Like, because it's gonna be a long time before we get back to normal, or we're gonna find a new normal.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you're doing right now is one excellent way. Just talking about race. That's what was. That's one of the things that's required. We need to continue to talk about race, and continue to pressure our local leaders and national leaders, and we need to continue to say that Black Lives Matter. In the past, it could feel awkward to talk about things like race. I guess that there was maybe a taboo in the past. Maybe there still is for some people. Talking about race, you should avoid doing that, but that needs to stop. We can't have that continue. We can't improve these problems unless we acknowledge that it exists, and
Right.
that yeah, that's the only way to fix it, by acknowledging it and talking about it, and pushing for local reforms in addition to all the national ones.
Right. And I think like how can we because I'm a very political person at times as a black man. That's why I got into student government. And so when Philando Castile was killed, I really felt it. Like, and Philando Castile, like, he didn't get killed like not too far from where I live. Like, just I take the 61 bus line almost every single day when I go to work or the mall or whatever. And so like he was killed like right there um where I used where I caught the bus, like right across the street from the gas station, and there's a liquor store over there, Pizza Hut, and like I felt it like that really, that really it it really hit me hard, and so and then I self-reflected myself like what can I do as a black man? It's like not easy to be a black man living in America. Like it's tough, and like during this situation where I just felt like I gotta think like what am I gonna do in my life, and I think this podcast is a really good way for me to like connect with people and just like even get experience in it, like and and like just the outreach to a lot of people with different colors and I have like different like because I'll invite guests with like white people and the mix of people of color, but I just think that you know even the cohort in the AmeriCorps, like all of us, like you know we didn't really have the year that we wanted to, so I think for our second year AmeriCorps members, all of us are gonna just just think like, man, I this is a chance where we get the year that we wanted to be in the first year, because it's not fair to some people, and it inspires me to just keep making myself more um myself more, I guess, financially and physically, mentally as a black man. So I think
Hmm.
that's how I self-reflect. But
Yeah, you're doing a lot of great work, Pierre. I, admire all the work you're doing, and yeah, you're like one of the biggest cheerleaders, I guess, if you want to call it, of, uh, of CTEP. Like you're always CTEP forever. You're always, being so positive, even during these really really hard times. I don't know how you do it, but yeah, it is. It does help that yeah, positivity, it can be infectious, even in some in the really hard times you're in right now.
yeah, like, even you too, man. Like, yeah, like I don't know, you should become a comedian because I don't know how you come up with all these jokes. I'm just laughing on Discord and
No,
Facebook.
I don't know. It's just I don't know. I think I'm maybe more keyboard funny than I'm not really. Yeah,
I'm,
I'd make a horrible stand-up.
it doesn't hurt to try. Trust your process. It's like uh, one last question before I let you go. But yeah, very very appreciate you joining us. I just want to know, like, how can we set example for the youth educating about racism because they don't understand it, they don't know, unless like it really happens to them in real life.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, yeah, we can start by setting good examples by becoming active in local politics in addition to national politics. Personally, I'm guilty of not paying as much attention to local politics as I should have. I used to focus more on national politics because I thought local politics were more for things like parking issues or filling potholes. But yeah, the laws that regulate and monitor our police are often at the local level. So we need to make sure we elect a city council and
That's right.
other local leaders that want to enact police reform,
Mm-hmm.
and to change the culture within the police force. By charging them, that was a great start, where that they're charging the officers for the murder,
That's right.
and yeah, and firing them, and yeah, I guess they're also, I believe they also recently had that chokehold. They made some regulations on chokeholds, I think, outline it, the use of that. um, but yeah, that's a good start. It should have already been there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, many people have recommended a website called joincampaignzero.org for like specific local recommendations that can help fix police abuse. And yeah, we need to continue placing pressure on our
Mm-hmm.
local elected officials, and our national ones in the weeks, months, and years to come.
Yeah, we definitely need all these resources, and and I think they're little baby steps to get rid of an orange guy in the White House. um
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like we gotta get him out of there. We gotta get him out of here. It's just like just throw him out. It's just like it's like like why like like why spend like 4 years of hatred, if we're already feeling the hatred right now. It's just like why can't we just make change right now? It's just like it's ridiculous. It's just like we need all the resources we can as a society, and just just little baby steps. We're almost there, just like is making changes. It's like if we don't make a change, then we're not a united America. It's just like that's just my personal beliefs on how we reform society. But it's just not trying to get all political, not get all mad and just kind of like what can we do peacefully and as a nation and like I just think that you know America is really under fire and just like we're not ourselves and we're like the big ego of we're like a fam like the whole world's like a family tree and America is the asshole in this situation where has this big ego is like the big
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like also the recent, the last week has shown that it's not just Minneapolis, St. Paul that have these issues. It's really present throughout the country. It really resonated. It's great to see that there was a lot of support for peaceful protests and for police reform. So that was, I guess, one positive thing to see.
Mhm.
And there was international support as well. So yeah, that was nice to see.
Yeah, definitely um so much um more politicians coming out and just like making those changes and yeah, I'm surprised the Minneapolis chief was a black man and the mayor coming out and making all those changes and it's just like you know um we're not we're not at world peace, but it's just like um we need to set some guidelines of how we can make that peace and then have that new normal. But oh yeah. uh, I think that's all the questions that I have for today. Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff, for being on this podcast. And uh, yeah, yeah. And so next week we'll Lizzie Hutchins, our program manager, she'll be my next guest on the podcast on Tuesday. So yeah, looking forward to that. I has had her as my guest because we had a tough core day a couple days ago, and just wanted to touch base with her
Yeah.
about the situation. And yeah. So
But I thank you, Pierre, for all the work that you're doing for this. And yeah,
thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Jeff.
Okay, well, take care. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye bye.